I'll never forget when the UWF sold to I guess it was Crockett Promotions at
Yeah,
that
Jim
point. It was
Crockett. Then I got fired because I left out on Kansas City over a payoff. I drew I don't know, almost a $70,000 house in Omaha, Nebraska, working against a warlord. And when I got my boy, I was excited. I called the office the next morning and I said, "When are we going back?" And then I get told on the phone that our office wouldn't be going back. That the Charlotte office was going to be taking care of that. Okay, that did two things to me. That opened my eyes to the reason why Crockett bought the Kansas City territory. He bought the Kansas City territory as a tax write-off, as a loss,
Mhm.
because the Charlotte office was making so much money.
Mm.
Okay,
Mhm.
uh, they when my paycheck came around the next week, and my payoff for Omaha was $75 for almost a 70 for drawing a $70,000 house. I called up the office and I said, isn't right. They said, "Oh, well, we've been losing so much money." Well, wait a minute. You know, we drew this. This is what you owe me. You know, I was a
Mhm.
champion. You know, it should have been a hell of a payoff, and it wasn't. So I quit. I made the phone call and came down and started working for Watts. My first time back in Kansas City, we did 100. I think it was 135 or $155,000 house with me on top against Eddie Gilbert. That solidified another theory I had. It was because the NWA would not move from that memorial auditorium in the middle of the hood where you had to walk. There was no parking. You had to park your car 2 blocks away and walk through the worst part of town with your family to go to the wrestling matches.
Hmm.
Well, I'm not going to endanger my family.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
So, so weekly we were drawing about $3,035 was all that we had in attendance. We would drive 400 miles to get to a town and find the posters at the concession stand because the JCs or this one or that group or whatever that was helping with the event wouldn't go put the posters out because they figured they could sell them at the concession stand and people will get autographs, get all the guys' autographs. Well, if those posters aren't out, how are the people going to know you're there?
And this was in Kansas City?
Yeah, yeah. I remember getting into
Dang.
Fort Scott, Kansas, and we worked in front. We had the decision. There was 11 people there.
Jeez.
Do we go out there and work, or do we cancel the show and nobody get paid for it? Well, we already drove out there,
Yeah.
so might as well work in front of 11 people. Give them a 2-hour show and then
Yeah.
and get out of there for $50.
That's all. I've had to work in front of that many people before. It's hard too. It's just
Oh, it
like
is.
people don't understand that. It's not
No,
easy.
when you get in the
Like
ring, you're feeding off the fans, man.
yeah,
You
right.
know, it's their enthusiasm. It's what they do that makes you get out there and push.
Yeah.
Well, if you ain't got nobody pushing,
Right.
it's kind of like, well,
Yeah, you're
I'll
just
just
kind of going through the motions.
yeah, and I ain't about going through the motions. I want to give it all I've got.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that 100%.